Hey yo, how you doing? This is gonna be a brief talk about the Mario movie because I just got back from it and I have some things to say that I thought about on the car ride home, and not all of them are good, but most of them are. I'm gonna try and make sure there aren't any important spoilers in this because I know the movie came out today and there are still a lot of people that want to see it, but from my perspective, having seen the movie, I don't think there's anything I could say here that would really give away the plot itself. I think the spoilers I want to keep to a minimum more are the set pieces and some references, because that might be part of the fun. You know, you're in the theater with your homies and you're like, oh my god, that's the question mark block, I know that, that's from Sonic. But I can't really spoil the plot for you because it is very bare bones, and I'm kind of wondering if that was Miyamoto's doing, because he has that whole I hate story thing. But this is a movie, so it needs to have a story, and there is one, it's just not terribly exciting. From all the promotional materials and trailers we got, we kind of saw a lot of the action in play, like a lot of the big scenes have been shown off. Not to mention the voice cast revealed early on was very divisive, especially around Mario's casting. And I'm just gonna throw this out there, I didn't like it before I saw the movie, then I saw the movie, and Chris Pratt really wasn't my issue. I think it worked perfectly fine. I still wish Charles Martinet could have had a chance to do something, even if it was a different take on the voice. But I don't think there were any bad performances in this movie. I think everyone did a really good job. And I'm realizing that makes it sound like Charles Martinet was not involved in the movie at all. He's in there, and you will know him when you hear him. But speaking about Chris Pratt, the man himself, Mario in this film is a really likable character. That was one thing I was a little worried about, because the ceaselessly optimistic character we see in the Mario games wasn't really something that I wanted to watch on screen. Like, it's just too happy-go-lucky, it wouldn't work. So that begs the question, who is Mario if he's not just a bundle of wahoos and happiness? Well, they actually humanized him pretty well. Like, in this movie, Mario is an optimist at least, but it's more about, like, proving that he can overcome something rather than just being optimistic for the sake of it. A lot of that comes from his family, and I don't think I have pictures or footage of any of this because obviously the movie came out today, but the Mario family is actually sort of large, and we only find out who his parents are. We don't know who the rest of the people at the table are, but they seem to be closely related in some way. Not sure if they are more siblings or if they are simply aunts and uncles, but they don't show up very much, so it's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal to me because I would like to know the Mario family tree, but for the movie, it's not a big deal. One thing I was really happy about is that there wasn't any point in the movie where Mario took any jabs at Luigi or anything. You know how, like, sometimes they're portrayed as being brotherly rivalry when it comes to certain things. Instead, they kind of take the Superstar Saga approach and make Mario and Luigi, like, inseparable, which is a big problem for them because they get separated. In a Yoshi's Island inspired move, possibly, Luigi is carted off to Bowser's castle, and Mario and Peach need to rescue him and also keep the kingdom safe from Bowser and his army. Mario's entire motivation is protecting his brother, and I really appreciate that. He also comes to want to protect the people of the Mushroom Kingdom, which is nice. He becomes a very likable hero figure, even though he's not exactly good at what he's doing. He's sort of learning on the job. It's an origin story. That's what this whole thing's about. Calling it the Super Mario Bros. Movie, though, is more so just to have that title, because Luigi doesn't appear in this movie very much. And that's a crying shame, because Charlie Day does an amazing voice for Luigi. I think he really knocks it out of the park. The mannerisms are there, like, he's got that little bit of confidence when things go his way, but then as soon as things turn into something scary, he is cowering in fear. His interactions with Mario make me smile because, you know, there's some sort of family dynamic thing here where I guess they're sort of like the black sheep of the family pursuing their own business and nobody thinks that they can do it. And while Mario is usually the one to keep them on track, when he starts getting burnt out, Luigi's the one to come in and support his brother. Like, they support each other very well. And that's why we need a movie where they interact the entire time. Seriously, Mario 2 has to have more Luigi. Princess Peach was another character I was very interested to see adapted because in the original Super Mario Bros. Movie, she wasn't even included. In the games, she doesn't do much aside from get kidnapped and then go on the occasional adventure when she's able to. In this movie, she is completely different than any other portrayal of this character, aside from, like, some very infrequent examples. Best comparison I have is the Super Mario Bros. Adventures comic? Manga? I'm not really sure what to call it. In that story, Princess Peach actually gets away from Bowser herself and goes back to rescue Mario and Luigi because she knows that they're gonna be in trouble. I think this is one of the things people were like a little confused about because she is like a completely different character. She is very on top of things, proactive in trying to protect her subjects and everything, and not just sitting back waiting to be captured. And I think that's fantastic. I think she is an amazing character in this movie, and she has a lot of screen time and pulls off a lot of the most impressive things in the movie. And I think that works fine because in the movie, her origin story is actually different. Though I say that like we know her origin story in the video games, but in the movie, Princess Peach isn't from the Mushroom Kingdom, she just showed up there, sort of like how Mario and Luigi got there, which means she's been dealing with all of this crazy fantastical stuff for her entire life. So the fact that she's a badass makes perfect sense to me. I don't know why people are upset about that. Or I mean, I guess I can take a guess. Here you go, you can touch that. Probably haven't seen that in a while. Toad was another character that was revealed pretty early on in those trailers, and the voice, not annoying, works pretty well for the character. More Toads have different voices, but I'm a little confused on how the Toads work in this movie, because the Toad, Keegan-Michael Key Toad, says, "Hey, I'm Toad," and then they go into the Mushroom Kingdom where everyone else is also Toad. I was hoping that they would do like a Paper Mario thing and give them all cute little pun nicknames, but we don't actually meet any other Toads that are ever given names. He's in the movie pretty frequently because he's hanging out with Mario and Peach, but also he doesn't say or do very much. He's definitely there for the occasional comic relief line, and once Mario and Peach are together, Toad takes a back seat. He has like a lot less lines than before, and he kind of just goes like, "Oh," or "Yeah," or, you know, he just supports Mario from the sidelines. I think the character's fine. They have a lot of parallels to Captain Toad, like he wears a backpack all the time. I think at one point he throws the backpack onto a car before he jumps onto it because, you know, Captain Toad can't jump with his backpack. A lot of fun little references like that, and there was even some Captain Toad music in there, I think. I know the joke about Seth Rogen characters is that they're just Seth Rogen all the time, and they've even, like, parodied that in other places. And while Donkey Kong sounds identical to every other Seth Rogen character, as Seth Rogen has said he doesn't do voices, I think his voice fits perfect for Donkey Kong in this character that they've made him into. This doesn't affect the movie at all, but it's very interesting to see that in this movie, Cranky Kong calls Donkey Kong his son, while in the games, Cranky Kong is Donkey Kong's grandfather. The future Cranky Kong's son is called Donkey Kong Jr., and he's shown in a couple games way back in the day, and then Nintendo seemingly just wanted the character to disappear, and they're just never seen since, and in this movie, it seems that they have officially moved to the point where Cranky Kong is just Donkey Kong's dad. That, of course, has nothing to do with the character himself. He is this huge, strong brute and massive show-off. Like, his scenes are some of my favorite in the movie. And he's on a collision course with Mario because of their fight that we've seen in the trailer, but he turns into one of my favorite characters in the entire movie. Him and Mario find some common ground, they're able to work together, and I think this team-up works really well because they suit each other's weaknesses a lot better than you'd think. If Nintendo actually makes a Donkey Kong movie at some point, I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch, and they might be setting up that cast because we have cameos from other Kongs like Diddy Kong, who actually gets one line in and then is never seen for the rest of the movie. And they make sure you know it's Diddy Kong, because Cranky Kong goes, "Diddy Kong, shut up!" or something like that. Kong Society is also really cool. I think it's probably put together better than the Mushroom Kingdom, but the Mushroom Kingdom is much more fantastical, and I appreciate that. Bowser, the king of the Koopas. He's my favorite character in the whole movie, and there's not enough of him in it. It's painful. Like, he is such a goofball behind closed doors, and then an absolute menace once he's faced with the public. The dude just wants to be loved, but he'll kill everyone in his way to make it happen. After the scene from the debut trailer where he destroys the ice castle, most of the scenes with Bowser just have him sitting or standing around. He doesn't really do anything because he's watching the progress of the other characters. I wanted to see him burn down more things, destroy other kingdoms, like maybe he's going on a whole victory tour to get to where he's trying to be, and that's why they have a time limit. I was worried that he wouldn't look expressive enough, because in the trailers he's always just got a scowl on, but when he has other emotions on his face, they work really well. Like, he's got this one puppy dog face that I couldn't get enough of. And Jack Black, oh my gosh, Jack Black is the perfect choice for this character. I don't think they could have made another better choice if they tried. Again, if Kenny James, the current voice of Bowser in the games, was allowed to try the role, I think he would have done an amazing job. I love that guy's voice. But in this timeline where we don't have that, Jack Black is the one. I am begging you, for the next movie or wherever you give Bowser a role the next time, whether it be a cartoon or something, please just give him more to do. I want to see this guy in action, laying waste to things and then picking flowers to put in a bouquet because he loves the princess so much. That is my biggest problem with this movie, I think. Some characters are introduced, they just don't have enough to do, and I think that's because the movie is too short. I know animation's expensive, I know they got deadlines and things they have to make after this, but this movie really could have done with like another half hour at least. The main draw of a film like this is the characters, and the character interactions we have in the movie are really solid, and I want more of that. But we need more combinations. I think Luigi and Toad would work really well together, maybe in that Charlie Day Luigi's Mansion movie that he wants to do. Mario and Bowser hardly have any interactions at all because Bowser's kind of just following them the entire time. It is a crime that Mario and Bowser don't build up more of a rivalry here. They still meet, obviously, but most of the movie is just Peach going, Bowser is horrible, he's disgusting and terrible, and then Mario gets to fight him. He almost feels like Thanos in all of those after credit scenes building up to Infinity War. Granted, the reason Bowser is hanging back in this movie is because he has the special star-shaped object of the day, and that theoretically makes it so he will not lose the encounters coming up. So that could be like an underestimation type deal, like a David and Goliath type situation where he just doesn't think he's gonna lose, so he doesn't do much. I think they could take a little bit more inspiration from the RPGs for Bowser. I think making him even more of a goofball and like trying to hide it and look tough all the time would be really fun, but I think that would involve him having to do more things so you can contrast the parts of his personality more. The plot is super bare bones, and I'm not just saying that because Dry Bones shows up. It is a very simple hero must train to overcome impossible odds type movie, and the only thing that really kept me watching is the fact that, you know, we're in Mario World, yahoo! Mario's made of fireballs now, ain't that crazy? It's not special because of the story, it's more special because of the characters and everything you see along the way. If the movie didn't have that star power, sorry for the pun, it wouldn't have been nearly as fun. Because like I said earlier, I liked seeing all of the stuff that they fit into the movie for the fans, and it's a very interesting case, this movie, because typically you'll see a video game adaptation like Sonic 1, you know, the Sonic 1 movie, where that is a movie that has Sonic the Hedgehog in it, and not too much else is very Sonic-y, and that was done because they're trying to appeal to the widest audience possible. Sonic 2, of course, dials up the Sonic a bit, and it's a bit more for the fans, and you see that, but it doesn't alienate the viewer if you have no idea what Sonic is. And also, the story of that movie is very fun. The Mario movie, on the other hand, is a video game adaptation that is very much made for the fans right off the bat. I refuse to believe that this is a quick cash grab movie, even if the story wasn't super enticing. I think they were probably just targeting a certain demographic, you know, that being kids who are supposed to be playing Mario. But they've packed 30 plus years of references and content into this movie that you're gonna be going, oh, look at that, oh, I know that, oh, that's from Mario 3, oh, that's Mario 3D World music. That's not for random people. That's for people who are gonna recognize what's going on here. They do the Princesses in Another Castle joke. That game came out like 30-something years ago. A kid's not gonna know that. As a Mario fan, this movie is phenomenal, and after seeing it though, I understand why so many of the early critic reviews are not good, because this movie doesn't really bring anything super unique to the table. Like I said, if the Mario brothers weren't in this movie, it would just be a really weird isekai adventure. But for Mario fans, this movie is a smorgasbord of emotion. I don't think I stopped smiling the entire way through, and if you enjoy Mario, I think you'll be the same way. And now I just have a few very quick things to mention that I didn't know where to put the rest of the video, because there are some characters, like Luma Lee, this very strange Luma creature, that I didn't have much to say about, but they are very funny. They're an adorable little Luma trapped in a cage for the entire movie that spouts nothing but the most nihilistic things you've ever heard, and everyone else in the dungeon just hates this character because they're already really upset that they're gonna die or whatever. That's the other thing. They say kill and die like a couple times in this movie. It's a little darker than I expected. I also wish there was a bit more of Bowser and Kamek hanging out, because of course they have that typical, like, evil overlord and cackling assistant vibe, but also there's the whole thing about how Kamek raised Bowser, so I'm wondering if they have that sort of connection in the movie as well. Oh, and if you're going to watch the movie, there are a couple, like, mid-credits things. There's 2 things before the stylish credits end, and then after the very long black and white credits, there is one more thing to see. So don't leave the theater too early or else you'll miss it. That is all. Goodbye, go see the movie, please.